Hello, everybody. My name is John Danius, and I'm here with Yvonne Cookson. Now, Yvonne is a co-author of a book called Mindfulness for Transformation, which for anybody interested in mindfulness is very, very interesting because it has personal stories and real life experiences. And this is why I'm interviewing Yvonne now. I'd be very, very interested to hear um, about your book, Yvonne, and then just have a general conversation.
Okay, yeah. Um, so my chapter in this book is really personal to me. Um, it's about letting go of the past and embracing the present. So the chapter is about a little bit about my past, and I had quite a challenging past as a child and a young adult. I suffered with really bad depression. I took drugs. I did, lots of things that were really y- not great. But when I found mindfulness, very quickly it changed my life. And for me to be able to write about that and show people and tell people how much it changed my life for the better has been huge for me because that's what I want to do. That's what this book is about. It's about helping people and showing people that there is often another way, and mindfulness is a very easy, um, lovely way to change your life. So that's what my chapter's about, really.
Yeah, very, very interesting, actually. And that you've had quite a tremendous transformation, actually, um, haven't you?
A huge transformation, yeah. I mean, I've sort of I've been in holistic treatments for a long time, probably maybe sort of coming up to 10 years now. So I got to a point in my life where I was so unhappy, and to be honest, the people around me will be quite shocked when they read this chapter because on the outside, I didn't seem unhappy. I was very good at putting a barrier up and putting on a brave face, and I was great at acting, and I was great at sort of pretending to be okay when I actually inside I was crumbling. So it's my journey started with holistic treatments, which really helped me, but they didn't change my mindset and they didn't change how I thought and how I felt. So when mindfulness came along, to be honest, when I first went into mindfulness and started doing the course, I didn't really sort of think it would do what it did. And I got about halfway through it and something just literally overnight clicked. And I can honestly say, hand on heart, the transformation changed my life. It changed my life so dramatically, that even the way I think now is completely different, that the person I am is different. And um, it actually really saved my life. Mindfulness, and that sounds quite dramatic, and it sounds, a bit diva-ish, I suppose, but mindfulness actually did save who I was and what I was about to become in my life. It transformed me a lot.
Can I ask you, Yvonne, what does mindfulness mean to you? The reason I'm asking is because for a lot of people, a lot of us, we have different connotations. So it would be quite interesting to hear what your take is.
Mindfulness for me is is a way of life, and I've incorporated the practice of mindfulness into my everyday life. And that didn't happen overnight, but it was actually quite an easy transition. And I often talk to people about mindfulness, and the a big reaction that I get is, I haven't got time for it. And that really it sort of it confuses me, because mindfulness is something that you can incorporate into everything that you do. So when you clean your teeth, you can do it in a mindful way. You can do it in just a way where you don't even remember doing it. So it doesn't actually entail doing anything extra really in your life, and it just makes your life more positive, and better. So mindfulness for me is just it's a practice, and that's why it's called a practice, because you have to practice it. Um, but it's about doing things within my daily life every day.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because typically I believe that for most of us, when we hear the word mindfulness, we think of it as sitting down, in a quiet room, um, actually taking time off from what we're actually doing
Mm.
to go and sit in a quiet room and pay attention to our breath, maybe train our attention muscle, start observing our thoughts, etc. And so when somebody says, I don't have time for that, it's one does not have time to do something that takes away from other time.
Yeah.
But the way that you're approaching it, is that you are cultivating it, it's by the sound of it, throughout your daily activity. You're not taking time off for it.
I mean, I do take some time that I meditate now, whereas in my previous life, I didn't meditate. But I'll do that as soon as I wake up in the morning or when I go to bed at night. So it's not really taking much time out of my day. And I find that because I practice mindfulness throughout my day, I actually have more time because I'm not running around like a headless chicken anymore, and I'm not stressed out and anxious and trying to do six things at once, which isn't efficient and isn't effective. So I actually find that I have more time now than I did before, which sounds a little bit bizarre, but that's how it is.
Hmm, hmm. Yeah,
Life's
yeah,
much
there's more.
calmer now. Like everything in my life is really calm now. Whereas in my previous life, my life everything was manic and crazy, and I just didn't have time to stop and even think. Whereas now I sort of have time to do that, and that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, it sounds like it's, you said it's a something like a way of being, not exactly those words, but along that meaning or
Mm.
lifestyle, um, an attitude, perhaps, a
Yeah.
and when you say I'm trying to sort of like make an understanding of what's the difference between when somebody thinks I'm practicing mindfulness and they think of sitting in a quiet room to practicing mindfulness, all the time. So, for example, would you say you're practicing mindfulness as we're speaking now?
Yes, because I'm just actually in the moment as we're speaking. So all I'm thinking about at the moment is speaking to you. Whereas previously, before I practiced mindfulness, I could be doing something like this, but I would have a thousand other things going on in my head at the same time. And I'd be thinking about those things and what I had to do next. Whereas now I'm literally focused on the moment that I'm in. And that's really poignant for me because that's something I used to find extremely difficult to do. And it used to have a really adverse effect on my life.
That's very special, actually, and then it makes sense when you say that you get a lot more things done, because you kind of living 24/7 in with moment by moment, with greater clarity. Which means if there's greater clarity, then it's easier to pick up nuances, from outside and also from inside, how we're feeling, um, and make better judgments and spend less time going back and forth. Um,
Definitely.
yeah, yeah, which I feel this going back and forth, I think doesn't just happen necessarily about really big decisions, but procrastination is going back and forth. That it's back and forth can be happening momentarily, just eating into our lives.
Mm. And I think as well now I notice everything around me, whereas before, because I was always thinking about the past or worrying about the future, I didn't have time to sort of think about what was around me and and all the amazing things that are, in my life. Whereas now I can literally go for a walk and I get so much out of that now. Whereas before it would have been a little bit of a chore taking the dog for a walk would have been like, oh God, I've got to take the dog for a walk. Whereas now it's like I'm so lucky that I'm able to do that. But it's the beauty that I have around me as well. I really noticed that, whereas I didn't do that before.
Yeah, very interesting. And I'm finding what I find interesting, and I keep saying very interesting, but it is very interesting actually. When you said you notice everything around you, um, And what you mean by that, it's not that specifically you're going out or you're walking out and you're saying, let me notice this, let me notice that, let me notice that. You're just walking and kind of receiving all this information, all this sensory input with higher quality, isn't it?
Definitely, definitely, and it's it's beautiful, really, and I can even go out on the worst day, which where it's raining, it's grey outside, but I will still always take something really good from that experience, and I will still see something really good in that experience because that's just what life is. Life's beautiful, really. Life wasn't so beautiful, but it is now. So I try and see the good and the positive in most things. I'm not perfect, and I have days where I'm not as great as other days, but I know how to sort of bring myself round, and I know how to react to that now. Whereas I think before I didn't have the tools to do that. Whereas I have those tools now, which is really that really empowers me as a person, but as a woman, as a healer, as everything in my life, as a partner, as a mum. It's really empowering to have those tools.
Yeah, so mindfulness in itself helps, but also living in this more clear, more lucid state enables you to select and use other tools more effectively.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I remember when we spoke in May. This was just after the lockdown started,
Mhm.
and I was impressed that when you mentioned about your accountancy job, and you had other stuff to deal with,
Mhm.
and you were able to. I'm sure it was difficult, but you were able to take the difficulty in your stride and have clarity in your decisions and moving forward.
I take everything in my stride now. I think people that have known me all of my life, they actually are quite shocked at how much I do take in my stride now. I literally, I don't get stressed. I don't worry about things. I had a lot of responsibility after lockdown with my accountancy practice. I had 8 staff. I had to look after them. It was a really difficult time, but I managed that through mindfulness and helped those staff with mindfulness. Just techniques, really, from work. And that was what my last chapter was about in the other book that I co-authored, was about working from home in a mindful way. So mindfulness has sort of helped me in that area of my life too.
I remember the little exercise that you gave to your staff, which was
Gratitude.
about rose, thorn, and gratitude, which was contemplating about something beautiful, something difficult,
Hmm.
and what was the third
And
thing?
something that you were grateful
Something that you're
for.
grateful, and
Mm.
I love the fact that you're also contemplating something difficult. It's
Yeah.
not about let me think. I think that that's quite subtle,
Mm.
actually, isn't
Yeah, I
it?
think I think that's really important to me, and I think sometimes I feel like people sometimes look at me and think, "Oh, she's really lucky, and she's always happy," and it's not. I do have difficult things that happen in my life, as does everybody. I think that's just being a human. But the difference is now is that I know how to deal with that, and I know how to sort of handle that. Whereas before, I didn't know how to deal with it, and things would really become out of control, or I would handle it in an incorrect way. Whereas it makes a big difference when you have the tools to handle things differently. But with my staff, the rose, thorn, and gratitude, I think, like I said to you last time, in the beginning, some of them were like, really, it was really alien to them to do something, to do that on a daily basis. We used to Zoom every day, and we used to do that every day. But by 6 weeks in, they were, if we didn't, if I didn't mention, you could see they were desperate to do it. Everyone loved doing it. And I could actually see over a period of time how just that gratitude that they were practicing every day because they had to think about something that they were grateful for, it made a difference to how they were doing in the workplace, in their personal lives. Because I think when you have to think about what you're grateful for, it does make you sort of realize what you've got in your life rather than what you haven't got in your life. And I think for me as well, one of the big changes in me is that gratitude is so important. It's I'd say with mindfulness, gratitude has changed. Along with mindfulness, gratitude is one of those things that has also really massively changed my life. And it's something that I do every single day without fail. It's like cleaning my teeth. I could not leave the house until I'd sort of practiced some form of gratitude.
Mm. Nice, nice.
I think life's about, there's a lot of negativity in the world at the moment. We're in really difficult times at the moment, and people are really struggling with that. But I think sometimes if people just actually took a step back and sort of quietened themselves and thought about what they had rather than what they didn't have, they would feel a lot better. Um, that's really important to me, and it's something that I talk to people about a lot, because I know how much it can have such a significant effect on your life just by practicing gratitude.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, and it's not just contemplating it. It's almost, is it? Do you kind of live a little bit that sense of gratitude? It's
It's feeling
you
it.
feeling it,
Yeah, you
feeling gratitude. So it's
actually,
not thinking gratitude; it's feeling gratitude. Is that
it's
fair to say?
feeling it and it's meaning it. It's actually like really thinking about, and it can be the simplest things, but it's really thinking about, people often say to me, oh God, the weather's terrible. Look at the rain. And my attitude to that is, well, we're extremely lucky that we have rain, really lucky. There's some countries don't have rain, they don't have water, to drink, never mind bathing. We just have to turn a tap on and we have rain. So be thankful that it's raining, because
Yeah.
if it wasn't, you might not have that water coming out of your tap. So I'll always try and, even in bad situations or situations where, you feel a little bit negative, I'll always try and find the positive in that and be grateful for that positive thing.
Yeah. And I want to pick you up on this actually, Yvonne, because um, let's say it's raining and I'm feeling I'm outside and I'm getting drenched with the rain. I'm feeling really bad. Um, Me being grateful for the rain and feeling some gratitude, it's very it's will be hard, pretty impossible for me to suddenly find myself in within a
Yeah.
minute to be transformed and be joyous. But this is not what you're talking about. What you're talking about is, whatever I'm experiencing, but then I add almost like a paintbrush, like a layer of gratitude, which is gentleness and the softness. It's like a soothing balm, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. And
It's
it
adding, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. No, sorry. It's so powerful. Gratitude is so powerful, and like you say, it's not just about thinking it. It's about actually feeling it, and feeling that gratitude, and like I say, it can be for the simplest. It doesn't have to be for anything big. It can be for really simple things. Just the fact that we have clothing, we have a roof over our head, we have food on the table. Those are the sort of things that I feel grateful for every single day, along with other things as well, because obviously things happen on a daily basis. And you know I'm extremely lucky, and I really believe as well that the more grateful that you are, the more things that come into your life that are positive, because it puts you on a positive sort of note every day. So when I get out of bed every morning, because I've already practiced my gratitude before I even set foot off that bed, my day can never be that bad, because I'm already grateful for very, very simple things in my life. So I can never really have a bad day, because it sort of puts me at a different level before I've even started the day. And that's a really simple thing to practice. It's like I say, people say, I haven't got time for that. I haven't, as soon as the alarm goes off, I get out of bed. Well, you can actually practice gratitude in your head within a couple of minutes. It doesn't doesn't take a lot of time. It's just about meaning it.
And I reckon that mindfulness practice, like saying going on a mindfulness course or regularly sitting, doing what we said initially, what I call mindfulness exercise, sitting down and meditating and paying attention to the body, that then makes us more in tune with our thoughts and our feelings and the bodily sensations. So therefore, if I'm practicing one moment of gratitude and I'm trying to remember this feeling, then I can do it with greater quality.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Is there anything else that you'd like to say?
Um, just that by just looking at mindfulness and trying to even just practice the very basics of it can have a huge impact on your life. So for me, writing this chapter, it was really personal to me, but it's about just showing people that you can change your life. You can change your life for the better. You can become a much happier, better person. Before mindfulness came into my life, I was really, really unhappy, to the point where, when I was younger, I'd tried to take my own life. Things were really difficult, and I never thought I'd get out of that spiral. But mindfulness showed me how I could do that. And like I say, it's literally turned my life around in every single way, every single way. So I'm really proud. I'm really proud of this chapter. I'm really excited about the book. And it's really given me a kick as well to write my own book, which I've already started. Because I feel like my story can really, really empower and help people in the future. So that's something I'm going to be working on next year.